Hi everybody, so welcome to Abby's Writing World. I just wanted to share with you some of the earlier drafts and versions of my book, Arranged Chaos. It's not out yet. I'm hoping to have it published in January of 2026. So originally, I did write the book entirely by hand. It's in this journal. Actually, it doesn't start until about halfway through, so I did run out of space and have to finish it in this notebook. I just much prefer writing by hand. Something about it, it's just more of a creative process, and I just like that I can much more easily bring a notebook with me wherever I go than having to bring a computer or whatever. So I am also currently writing my second full-length novel unrelated to this series, but I'm also writing it completely by hand in a notebook that is just like this one, actually. And these tabs are just like where different stories start, or like this tab is just to a specific note that I wrote, so I could keep track of that easier. And then these right here, I have some of the, I think this was probably the first time I printed out this book, my book. I can tell because I really didn't like this font. That's not super interesting to most people, but yeah, so for a little while I did not actually have a title for this. I called it, for a while, like in my notebook where I have it written in, I titled it right away as just, where is it? Yeah, it's right here, chapter 1. I titled it as Mob Story. I did not know, first of all, I did not know that I was going to take it this far at all. I wrote this when I was living in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee. I was basically just bored, and I had a little idea, and I just started writing it down. And then I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to write a book ever since I could read. I've been trying and trying, always giving up. I want to prove to myself that I can do this. And I did. And now I have the proof copy, and I'm going to be publishing it in a little over a month, if all goes well. But so that's just amazing to me. But anyways, it took me a while to figure out what title I wanted for this book. I initially thought that the kind of groups or clans in my story were like, I was describing them as mobs, but the further I went along, realized that's not what I wanted them to be called, because that's not really what they are. I knew it really didn't fit, and then my dad read it and he's like, hey, this doesn't really fit, and I'm like, yeah, so what are we gonna call them? And I have a video on how to pronounce the name and why I came up with that. But anyways, I did eventually come up with the idea to call them Menigtas. That's the series name. But I still obviously didn't have a name for the book. I knew I didn't want to call it Menigta, because that, while it might be eye-catching, because you're like, how do you even pronounce that? What does that even mean? Nobody's gonna want to buy a book that they can't pronounce, or at least that was my thought process. So I did initially, when I was printing it out, the title was just Untitled Menigta Story. And then right here again, I have, here, let's see, I have Untitled Menigta Story. One idea for a story title, or a title that my sister did have, she was like, why don't you just call it Blossoming Tragedy? And for a while I was like, I don't know, not really sure. Blossoming Tragedy, it did sound really good, but at the same time, I knew it didn't quite fit exactly what I wanted. So I did keep just calling it Untitled Menigta Story, until we get to this draft and we kind of see that I did have a little bit more. For a second, I was calling the series The Menigta Struggles, but we did just settle on, or we as in me and my family, who I was bouncing ideas off of, I settled on just Menigta for the series title. But then I came to the title of the book, Arranged Chaos, and I just wanted to share with you a little bit about how I came up with that. So, like I said, like I wrote the entire book, got through almost the entirety of all the editing. My sister had I think she had either started or was almost finished with the cover and everything before I even had a title for this book. And I'm like, geez, I'm done, and I don't know what this book is even called. That's not great. So one day while I was at work, it was after I'd been working very diligently on editing my book, I'm like, I need to come up with a title. So I had seen this other author kind of write about how she comes up with titles. She just lists a whole bunch of words or phrases that go along with the book, the themes, what happens, and different things. So that's basically, here, let me show you. That's basically what I did. I just scribbled down a bunch of title ideas. And I even wrote all lame so that I could kind of let go of any, like, you know, fear of judgment, just so I could, like, just get a list of everything. So I got, like, a lot of things. Some of them aren't even, like, possible titles. Some of the close seconds were, like, kill or be killed, worth dying for. And some of these are actually good enough that they might be bases for the 2 other books that I'm hoping to be a part of this series. And then I wrote, like, family, after government collapse. I'm like, these aren't really good titles, but they do give insight into what the book's about. And then one of the things I wrote down was just arranged, and then in parentheses with a question mark was just chaos, because a lot of chaos happens in this book. And I was thinking arranged because my main character, she is in an arranged marriage. So I'm like, how does that go together? And I was talking about all these story ideas with my grandparents and my parents, because my grandparents were in town. And so I was reading the list and I got down to arranged chaos, and it was basically like, yeah, that's the title. And it was an amazing moment. It was like, finally I'm finished with this book. I've printed out so many bulk copies of this is just the back page, but of my book, printed out so much of it, and I have it fully finished, and now I finally have a title. And it was just amazing to come to the end, or like of the fully finished project, and be able to have something to call it. And I'm so happy with the title. I think it really fits the story. So I just wanted to share a little bit about that, and just show the first drafts and a little bit of insight in how this all came to be, and how I was able to write this book that I'm just super proud of, and super happy that I had my family to help me kind of bounce ideas off of and help me look at it and edit it, because obviously I am not a professional writer or not even a published author fully yet, but so I don't have the means to have a fancy editor or anything. So it was just super nice to be able to have my family help me with that. And I'm just so excited for my book to be published in January, as long as all goes well, because I am hoping to self-publish. I just think that would be easier for me to have more control and more say in everything that happens with my book. So I am hoping to self-publish in January, and I am so excited for it to be available to everyone.